This live stream, oh my gosh, this is like the second live stream that I'm doing today, but I have a lot of things going through my mind, so it's just like, whoa, it's just coming through me. Okay, so my name is Eunice. If you guys haven't seen me before, if you haven't watched my videos before, let me know in the comments so that I can properly welcome you. And if you are an OG, if you're a subscriber, if you have been watching some of my videos, say hi also so that I can know that you're here. Hi! So today's video is going to be a fun one because I have had clients asking me about the use of video scripts. And actually, as you can see, as we're speaking right now, I have like 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've got 5 lines. And they're just kind of like the points, the gist of the points that I want to deliver. And I have been feeling so strongly about this. I have felt so strongly about these things that, you know, it's just like in my body, like waiting to be blurted out. So I used to be the kind of person who used video scripts. As a matter of fact, I used a teleprompter. Like so long ago, I would say maybe like 4 years ago, I used to use a teleprompter. Did that help? At the time, it got the work done. I did manage to make videos, but the script and the teleprompter was making me so freaking nervous. Like I didn't sound like myself. So the reason I wanted to make this video today is, you know, to speak to those of you who are using video scripts and you feel so nervous and you are just out of your character when you are reading your script or when you're following your script, that you feel like this just isn't me. You know, it's just not me. And how to find your natural voice again. Because I believe that when you have something to say, it's because you want to say it, right? It's because you have a message to share. It's because you have a feeling to share. You have an idea to share. Not because you just want to rehearse and recite something. Like you actually want to get the energy across. And I believe with any kind of communication, that is the only thing that really matters. It's like you just getting your energy across, you getting your thoughts across, being able to articulate them in the way that people can understand. But oftentimes, I tend to find that, you know, when we get nervous, we think, like there's this kind of illusion that when we find something to help us, or when we rely too much on something to assist us, it takes our confidence away. And the reason for that is because it takes our presence away. So I'm going to talk a little bit about presence later in this video. But I kind of like to compare this as an analogy to swimming. When you haven't been taught to swim, or when you haven't been told that you can actually float on your own, when you scramble in water, it can feel like the worst experience ever. You can feel like you're drowning and you're dying, and you know, you don't, like you lose your cool, you start panicking, you start like, you know, flapping your arms around. But when we actually relax our muscles, we relax our body, we learn to breathe again, right? We remind ourselves that we can float. We actually know how to float. If we fill our lungs with our lung capacity with air, we can actually float. So this is something that we innately know how to do, but you know, for some of us, we have forgotten. And it's very much like speaking, because when we speak, we're actually quite natural. When we catch up with our friends, when we talk about ourselves, when we talk about how our day was, or maybe like when we're ranting to someone, when we're going off about something that happened in the end of the day, or when we're catching up with our friends and family, we are able to talk and talk and talk and, you know, get excited when we see our best friend, like with no problem. So talking actually is not the issue. It's not about making sure that we hit all the points, or making sure that we follow the words, right? Because we don't think in words. I'm going to be covering about this later. But it's really about allowing yourself to express your energy in the way that you're feeling in the moment. So when it comes to, so I'm going to be talking about like preparation and, scripting, because I believe that when we do the action of writing a script, especially like when we write down the words and the connection words and how we want to say the sentences, how we want to do our introduction, how we want to wrap up the video, how we want to deliver some ideas, I find that it takes away our confidence and it takes away our presence. So the reason for that is because when we prepare, like the moment we're typing up a script or we're writing out a script or writing down these notes, is that the preparation is an energy of the past. When you write down exactly how you are going to say something, especially if you do it word for word, right? And you can see that I only have 5 points. I have 5 points and that's it. And I'm talking so much. And I use bullet points, but I don't use a script. And I'm going to tell you why later. But when we prepare the words word for word, it can feel really natural as we're writing it, right? As we're writing down our notes and we think about, kind of rehearsing in our head, how am I going to say it? How am I going to present this? Because I have like 2 hours to prepare my notes right now. I'm going to be delivering it later. It feels really natural when we're writing it. But at the moment when we deliver the speech or when we turn on the camera and we hit record, it's like, this doesn't feel the same. Because I'm not in the same kind of energy I was. And when I am writing the script, I'm really tapped in. I'm really present, right? I'm really connected to my message. Like all is good, all is connected, all is like all the lights are on, the ideas are on, it's all flowing. It's going at a good pace when I'm writing, right? It's all flowing out of me. But at the moment I turn on the camera, it's like, okay, let me try to remember, this is what's actually happening. Let me try to remember what I was thinking in the past and let me check my notes. Let me check my script to make sure I'm adhering to the energy and the thoughts and the ideas that came to me in the way that it came to me when I was writing it. So essentially what we're doing is we're trying to remind ourselves. So not only are we trying to read the script, which is like a bit difficult when you're trying to look at the camera and read the script at the same time and you're trying to remember like what you want to say. But it's difficult because your energy is like pulled in all kinds of direction. You're trying to impress the person who is sitting across the camera or sitting behind the camera watching the video, right? You're trying to get yourself across. You're trying to articulate yourself. And at the same time, you're trying to read. And you're trying to remember the energy in which you wrote it in and try to deliver what you wrote with the same level of enthusiasm and flow and excitement and clarity in the time that you wrote it a couple of hours ago or a day ago or a week ago. So this is why scripts take the spirit out of your video. Because we are reading, we are reiterating an energy of the past. We are reiterating an energy a few hours ago or at the time when I wrote it. It is not live. But when you do a video, it is live. It is recording in real time. Even if people are not watching it right now, it is live. It's being captured in real time. And so what I've found to be really powerful and potent about making videos is your energy. It's not about the depth of the information. It's not about how the words are being put together, how your script was written or who it was written by, how perfect and seamless the flow is of your script. None of that matters if you are not connected to the present moment. None of that matters if you are not so tapped in that you are finding your own words in the moment. So the problem when we read scripts is that when we're trying to recall the energy from a previous time, the time that is not now, we're relying on muscle memory. We're relying on muscle memory. Try to remember how we felt. We're trying to remember what we were thinking. We're trying to remember how I said it just now. And I'm trying to think about, and I'm trying to recall how I can say it now, the same as how I said it just now, right? So you're trying to basically repeat the experience. But when you're trying to remember, right? Like there's a part of your brain that's trying to remember how I said it in the past, and I'm trying to read it, right? So you're doing multiple things at the same time. You're trying to express, you're trying to read, I'm trying to recall. It's so confusing. That's why it makes you nervous. That's why it takes you out of your present. Expressing is not about operating from muscle memory. Expressing is about getting your energy across in the moment that you get across. It's not about rehearsing a memory that you have experienced in the past. You cannot recreate a memory. You cannot recreate an energy. Whatever it is that you experienced the first time, and that's how it would sound the first time. And the second time you say it, you probably would say it a little differently when you're connected in the moment. So when you're reading a script, you're relying on muscle memory, and that is why it takes you out of your presence. The third point I want to mention is when you write a script, especially when you write it word for word, you're sending a message that you don't actually really trust yourself. There is trust, right? Because you're expressing your ideas, but you're expressing on paper, you're expressing it on your notes, you're expressing on something that can contain and encapsulate your ideas so that you can hold it right now. But you don't trust yourself to be able to have the same ability to do it in the future. In the future, at the time where you're recording the video. So this sends a very big message to your subconsciousness. This sends a big message to yourself. Because what you're saying to yourself is, I trust myself enough to write it. I trust myself enough to document it, to record it, to, say all the things that I have to say right now, right? But I don't trust myself to have the same level of ability and presence and attention and focus and passion and excitement later. So, of course, when we send this message to ourselves, we're basically saying, I am super connected and present right now. I'm super tapped in right now. I am here with you right now as I'm writing the thing, right? But at the moment that I am presenting it, I can disconnect. I can go offline. I just need to read it. Well, that's not very encouraging, and that's not very empowering. And that sends a message that, at the moment when we're delivering our speech and we're recording ourselves, that we cannot be trusted. That's what we're telling ourselves. We're telling ourselves that we can actually just sign off, like log off of our attention, log off of our awareness. We could just disconnect, and instead of connecting with the person across from the camera, we can just read from our notes. I don't need you. I don't need you to pay attention. I don't need you to stay with me. I don't need you to engage. I just need you to read the notes. That's what we're communicating to ourselves. And the more empowering way and the more powerful way of communication that actually gets the point across is when we connect with ourselves at the time when we're recording the video, when we connect with our message, when we don't abandon ourselves, when we don't tell ourselves that, oh, you've got everything prepared so you could just log off. I have prepared my notes. I have prepared a few points. But what I'm doing right now is so much bigger than the notes. It's so much bigger than just like following the words. You see what I'm saying? It's more about me being tapped into this moment, me feeling what is it that wants to come through me right now, me catching the next idea as I finish my last sentence. This is what it's really about. And explaining concepts in the way that I am feeling it right now. So even if I were to explain the same concept that I have explained before to someone else or in another occasion, or if I were to say exactly the same thing or explain the same thing to you as I did on a previous time, I would be delivering it in a completely different way. The words would sound different. The words would come out differently. I would explain it in a different way. Why? Because it's just my understanding that I'm leveraging on. It's just my presence that I am connected to, not an energy of the past. The concept is the same. The concept doesn't change. The ideas don't change, right? I can explain exactly the same idea, but I would have an entirely different way of explaining it because I'm connected to what I am feeling in the moment by moment. So this is really important, you guys, because I find that a lot of times people try to reiterate the same kind of energy, the same kind of experience people have experienced before. And because it was so perfect, right? Because we have created a perfect way of, because it made sense when we explained something then, or when we wrote it on paper, that it has to be the same experience when we say it this time. But it doesn't. Because the truth is, your presence is going to help you to deliver the words. It's going to help you to find the words. It's going to help you to carry the words and expression through, depending on how you feel. In the moment that you're experiencing the thought that is hitting you, that is coming through you, and you're going to experience it very differently. Every single time you explain it to someone new, the words are going to come through differently. And the words are going to find itself. So the moment you're actually really connected to the present moment, you don't have to worry about, not knowing what to say or, losing track of grammar. I used to be so nervous that like all the words that I would say would just kind of take a tumble. I would trip over my own words. But that's because I was not connected with myself. I was not connected with the moment. I was not connected with my ideas. I was more connected to the idea that maybe people were judging me and they think that I look silly and they're focusing on how I sound. But I was not connected to the moment. But when we are connected with how we're feeling right now, the words will find itself. It's that amazing. The words will find itself to be expressed through whatever means, whatever sounds, whatever expression that is coming through you, because all you really care about is the idea. So this brings me to my last point, which is instead of thinking in words, which is what a lot of people believe that needs to happen when we write down detailed notes, we don't think in words. Humans, we think in concepts. So instead of focusing on how you want to present the words and how, having to micromanage yourself on how the words are going to come through, instead of micromanaging, allow yourself to just take a step back and relax and allow the words to find itself through and just trust the concept. Allow the concept to hold, be the container to hold the words, so that when you think in the concept will naturally flow and then the words will naturally find its place. When we think in words, the words actually really don't have meaning. The words are actually the substance of the concept. So allow yourself to hold the concept, connect to the concept, the ideas of what you're trying to say or the feelings that you're trying to express. Connect to the feeling, connect to your intention, connect to what it is that you're trying to really get across and do with your speech, with your video, instead of like trying to micromanage every single word, because that is going to pull you in too many directions. That is going to lose your focus in what is the core message of your main concept. So this is how you stop using your script. This is how you stop feeling nervous, when you speak, because you can then learn to trust yourself. You can start to trust yourself when you're connected to the present moment. And as a matter of fact, if you think that you need to have confidence, you need to feel confident, you need to feel invincible before you say anything or before you record anything, that is a myth. Because the moment you can connect to your ideas and how you feel on the video, that is the moment where all your fears just like go away. Because you're so connected to yourself, you're so connected to the moment that nothing else matters, right? You're not thinking about what people are thinking. You're not thinking about trying to look more confident. All you're really thinking about is staying so connected to the present moment that that is the only thing that matters. And that is how your message is going to effortlessly come through. It's going to effortlessly find itself, is when you are connected to the present moment. So I hope this video was able to land a place in your heart that reminds you of the importance of your presence when you're in video. It's going to remind you of your power to communicate and to remind you that you already have the ability. You don't need another set of crutches. You don't need the training wheels. You don't know how well you can really communicate until you take off those training wheels, until you take off that floaty. Then you'll find out you actually know how to float on your own. So that is a video, that is a message that I want to share with you today. And this video was so much fun to make, and I really wanted to get this message across because I believe that every single one of you who are making videos, who want to say something, you have a message to say, you have such powerful presence. So don't give yourself any less credit for that. Don't discount yourself, and don't settle for anything less than your most powerful presence. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning into this video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this content. Let me know what you think about these ideas, and yeah, I'll be hearing you from the comments, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. I love you. Thank you for being here.